anyways, so yeah, when I first met Michelle, I instantly liked her. Like, she's got one of those big personalities that's just like really relatable and kind of like contagious. So yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this thing with her on the show and being a part of your vision, and you know, you get to be part of mine, and we get to intermix them a little bit and see how they kind of, you know, serve out. And yeah, just here to be of service and you know, whatever I can do to benefit another of the mankind. So anyways, we'll see how it goes. I did write this song for you, so all right, well, I thought I would kind of perform it if that was cool, and maybe see where it goes, but I'm a little nervous, so just bear with me, I guess. Yeah. Oh, which brings me to my song. So,
What is this? It's so soft. So soft. Gosh. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that was live. It's soft. Okay. Where am I? I thought it was in Santa Monica. Did you hear that? Who was that? Beautiful girl.
Okay. Here's the class. Whoa! Okay. It's just the logo. Oh my god. Oh, that's me. Oh my god, look how much I've aged. Oh. So yeah, these are some of the different series we do. This is the ground series, side series, working lateral. That's the connected series, if you can see that. I'm trying to duck out of the way a little bit. That's my twin brother. No. He looks tired. But yeah, so you know, it's just going on to talk about the uniqueness of the training. So it's basically working upper and lower body, and then together has a lot of emphasis on core strength. And the other aspect is that you exhaust one layer as the other recovers, as they're doing right here. They're exhausting their upper body, then their lower body, and then they combine them together, and that's where that magical core strength happens. And yeah, it's all choreographed to music, and awesome people, and awesome environment. So get to be one with the world. And the best part is anyone can do it. See the little kids there? That's what I say at that part. Anyways, so yeah, that's basically the workout. It's just you know, it's out here on the beach, grass. It's fun. It's phenomenal, and it's the workout's really fun. It's the nutrition part that people struggle with. No, yeah, it's just, you know, it's effort which builds consistency, which ultimately leads to results. So now they talk about how amazing I am, but we don't need to hear that. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Well, you know, at Ageless and Timeless, we're always looking for the newest and the greatest, the cutting edge in the fitness world, because we're all interested in having the best bodies possible, and we're obviously looking for the integrated approach. But there are some options for us today that I think you're going to find very interesting. So I want to introduce our guest. His name is Dustin Conrad. He calls himself DC for short. And he lives in Santa Monica, right on the ocean. And he runs a company that he founded about 10 years ago called Bands and Body Fitness. And he's going to tell us exactly what that is and why this is the newest thing since sliced bread, right, Dustin?
You're right, exactly.
So before you launch into your explanation of our beautiful fitness routine, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you came to this place in your life? I read your bio on your website, and I also read your little byline. I have to include this. He says, from phony to Phoenix, drug addiction to open heart surgery to open heart loving. So explain all of that to us, Justin, because you are quite a man. I can say that.
Yeah, those are pretty heavy concepts. So yeah, basically just, you know, like the Phoenix just really sums up the whole thing, because I really did go through the fire in more ways than one. And, you know, you know, it just all happened the perfect way that it could. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason, and that reason was the catalyst for me, being and doing and living where I am. So and giving what I do. So yeah.
So, would you mind elaborating a little bit on the adversity side so we understand what your demons were and how you conquered them?
Sure. So yeah, so I mean, as a young kid, I was like heavily medicated. I was one of those rambunctious, if you can't tell, I'm like fidgety and stuff. Rambunctious kids all over the place, getting kicked out of classes. So I was put on a lot of medication, and ultimately, I just started, I think, developed this inherent feeling like something was wrong with me that needed to be fixed. And then, so when I was exposed to drugs and alcohol and things like that, it just seemed natural for me to kind of like take it up a notch and get that numbness even a little bit more of that dull ache. So that's kind of the way that all transpired. And ultimately, I mean, it's just this natural progression of like, you start by drinking some alcohol, your parents' cabinet, and then filling up with water, and then next thing you know, you're smoking pot, and then taking LSD, and then just the natural progression of how a lot of people, addicts or people in that world, kind of transgress into. So that's what happened with me. Luckily, though, I was pulled out of all that because I was so out of control that there was one night where I stole my mom's car and I was driving around Calabasas and with no headlights on. I must have been like, I don't know, 15 years old. And I drive into all my friends' houses, and, getting high with them. And then, of course, that night ended painfully with me being, rammed into my mom's car and by police officers. So, but that like short circuited the downward spiral that I was in. So it kind of gave me a pause. And, I went away to boarding school and kind of got my act together. I finished out my high school with 4.0 and then got my diploma from Calabasas High, even though I didn't finish at my last year there. And then I went on to, to explore the work world. And just in a nutshell, what happened was I got a job at Starbucks, met this girl, she's super awake and it's 5 a.m. and I'm not. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like bring me up to speed, literally. And so that's kind of what happened. And next thing you know, it was very elusive, very subtle. I was hooked, and one thing led to another, and ultimately I was like whoring myself out to these methamphetamine research studies. I won't say where they were at, which hospital, but and then ultimately I had put some of this drug into the intravenous, what do they call it? I don't know, plunger thing. And I put it into myself and I went into convulsions. And then I know that that's what did it, because a week after that, my health just declined. And next thing I knew, I was in the hospital getting checked out, and they're saying something's wrong with me. My heart's leaking. My lungs have like, some infection. So, ultimately, they had to perform the open heart surgery. But at that time, I was so numb and placid about the whole thing. I was like, okay, yeah, all right, okay, cool. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
How old were you when you had the open heart?
Yeah, 23.
Oh, good.
And I'm 30, approaching 36 now. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So then you say open heart surgery to open heart loving. So
I'm realizing a grammatical error. Should have said open heart lover.
Lover. Okay, that's fine. That's good too.
Yeah. So I mean, what that means to me is really just wholeheartedly loving and not ashamed of it, and not holding back, and putting out the love that I want to receive also. So like being the not that I'm chasing anything specifically, but being the example and being the vessel so that I can, continue to give and not just so that I can receive, but that is definitely a draw and a part of it for me. So, yeah.
So when you came out of the hospital, were you cured of all your addictions?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, drug addictions, yes, but I mean, addictive personality, it's just, some people, I feel like it's genetically, kind of woven into the fabric of the DNA in some degree. But yeah, for me, I definitely did all right with abstaining. Did I just lose you with the video? No. I did all right for a while, but ultimately the untreated symptoms emerged, and before you knew it, I was back at it again. And But after the heart surgery, what happened was I really dedicated. I had been in sober livings and rehab, but after that, it was like, all right, this is it. Now your life is on the line, literally. So I moved back in with my parents. One of the requirements was to go to meetings, and I started to really hear things. I hated the dogmatic parts of it. The religiosity for me didn't really relate, but I heard people overcoming some fears and stuff, some real shit that I was really struggling with myself. So, when I heard people say like, oh, I overcame, walking up to a girl and just saying, what's up? Hi, I'm Dustin Conrad, and I, at that point, had never done anything like that. I was like, whoa, wow, this is way bigger than just, that. So yeah, that's kind of what drew me there and what kind of kept me there. So, yeah.
So tell us about how Bands and Body became a reality. It obviously was a dream, and you made your dream into something real. So how did that all happen, given that you had this troubled past and you were trying to find your path in life? How did this come about?
It was kind of a natural progression, actually, as weird as that sounds. But ultimately, I started being of service, and I started working on myself, and I started, working on others and helping others. And so, as I was working on myself, I started working on my body, my mind, my thoughts, everything. And it just naturally started working out. I really owe it to my little brother because he really led the way, because he was a personal trainer like maybe 3 years prior to me jumping into this thing, and I saw him get great success quickly, and I also saw him really kind of find himself, find his purpose, and really felt like he was like, that's when he became a man, when he established himself in that world. So yeah, like really it was him, and it was me making that 180 and turning the other cheek and trying to recreate my life again.
So what were the steps? Because obviously it's one thing to have an idea, Dustin. It's quite another thing to build a real company and have it then be successful as you have done. So you're an entrepreneur, and you have probably struggled with many of the challenges of every entrepreneur. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the vision that you had for the business, and what evolved from that point of idea to reality?
Yeah. That's interesting, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot, because it's changed and emerged in different ways. Because initially, my thought was, because the training, as you'll see, is very, very specific, very unique, and I would get a lot of feedback. I'm just plugging in some external battery. I'm onto something. You got to do something with this, like really get the classes more populated, that sort of thing. So that's kind of why I went the class route. And ultimately, what happened was, that I started just doing classes for seniors. And really, the safest thing I knew about was resistance bands, because you're not. Hang on one second. Let me just start to focus. You're not putting a lot of strain on the joints, and B, you're actually helping to rehabilitate them. And the resistance bands are really the most functional piece of, or in my opinion, the only functional piece of fitness equipment externally, because it literally functions with your body's power. As your body, your muscles contract, that resistance band contracts. As your and then vice versa, as your muscle relax, that resistance band gets to relax. So
maybe I'm sorry to interrupt you, but maybe we should define Bands and Body first, because you and I both know what it is. I got to see it a few days back. And we'll show a video here in a moment, so the audience can get an idea. But would you give us a couple of sentences, a description of exactly what is Bands and Body fitness?
Yeah. So I mean, my little pitch is like, it's training modality designed for someone who wants to get in like really amazing shape, but they don't want to destroy their body in the process. So it's really about functional movement, graceful, music synchronized, feeling powerful, feeling strong and stable and balanced, and done via application of resistance in all dimensions of movement and all layers of muscles. So we call it, the actual training technique is multi-limb resistance training, meaning that you're training multiple limbs inside of this resistance. So yeah, that being said, that's why I feel it's, well, in my opinion, probably one of the most effective ways that you could really maximize your time and you know, let one layer recover while the other one, you know, is being, you know, strengthened, and then vice versa.
So could we take a moment and just show a demo of the classes, just so people have an understanding of exactly what happens?
Oh yeah, yeah. Do you want? Are you going to show the clip? Or
Yes, yeah. Let us do a
Okay.
clip so we have an idea, if you don't mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on just a sec.
Are you ready for the newest, most innovative workout in the world? I'm Dustin Conrad, owner of Bands and Body Fitness and the creator of multi-limb resistance training, or MLRT. It's a revolutionary way to train multiple muscle groups simultaneously with resistance bands. It's basically like an aerobics class on steroids, but way more fun. The science behind why this workout is so effective is because we never stop working muscle groups. We work upper body as lower body recovers, and then vice versa. And then we work all sets together, which has a heavy emphasis on core strength, since anytime you move opposite arm and leg, you always have a major abdominal engagement. The best part is, anyone can do this workout.
With the bands, again, it's highly more resistant, which is actually better for you as opposed to pushing a bunch of heavy weights.
I love the team because they're friendly, they're interactive, they're very supportive. Everyone I've met here has been super nice, super supportive.
I give Dustin a lot of credit for helping me with that. He's super insightful, passionate, friendly. He really cares about not just making sure that I get a good workout, but making sure that I have full mobility of my body.
Wow. So tell us, how do the bands actually create the toning and the muscle building that you're describing in your video?
Well, essentially, it's the idea that you're in this constant state of muscle tension, because you're always working one muscle, or one layer of your body, and then also that in conjunction with the ability to, if you look at the difference between like a weight and not that I'm against weights, the symbol is just like to to bring some controversy and make people ask me about it, but if you compare it to weights, you have weight is a static weight, let me see if I can kind of angle myself. A weight is a static weight the whole way up, right? And then if you have your resistance band, it's going to get more and more and more and more intense the higher you go. So what happens is you start to recruit all these smaller muscle fibers, that you don't normally get when you're getting a weighted workout. The other thing is, after we do a lot of, you'll notice there in the workout itself, there's a lot of pauses. It's like a one pause down, two pause, and those pauses are because you're at the pinnacle climax of that range of motion, at the tightest point of where that band will be in that whatever specific movement you're doing, and that's where you get to really maximize. And that's where I always say this. That's where the magic happens. Is because I don't work out that much, but I'm able to stay in shape because I work my muscles smart and efficiently. Is what I feel. So.
How long does the workout last?
It's 40 minutes.
40 minutes. So in that time, what's happening to people's heart rates?
We just added an element of competition, but we're not having them yet. Right now, we have them all wearing heart rate monitors, but we're not having them view their progress because we don't want to get them distracted from the actual leading the routine. But afterwards, they can evaluate and see. So be curious to see. I literally just bought a handful of these heart rate monitors. But there's specific ones that have blood pressure and blood oxygen as well. So I'm very curious to see what the metrics are. But anything really, I feel that you can infuse that is interactive and it also gauges progress on a visual level. I think is super important. So like we use that, and then we're just now implementing that. And then what we have been using is a fitness software that my brother and I have been working on, where it creates graphs of your progress. So as you're entering whatever progress you want, numbers, repetitions, weight, body fat percentage, circumferences, it takes that data and it creates graphs out of all of those. So people get to see, like over time, wow, like, yeah, there's maybe some little hills and valleys, but that's to be expected. Every graph kind of looks like that. But ultimately, if you look at our database of clients, like if I were to show you, every single one of them has these nice correlations of body fat dropping and then muscle mass rising, and then usually weight is continually dropping, but sometimes fluctuates, especially because we work with primarily women, so there's variables.
So the location is couldn't be beat, right? On Santa Monica Beach, really. So why don't you talk about that for a moment? Where would people be finding you?
Yeah, right on the iconic Santa Monica the original Muscle Beach. This is where it all started. I feel like kind of the fitness mecca of the world. So if you ever come down to Santa Monica and you want to see something pretty spectacular on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, you go down there. They got all walks of trapeze and circus, the lake type people practicing their stuff on the grass. I would say easily like 50 couples or threesomes of people doing various flips and stuff and juggles, and it's pretty incredible. So it's not to be missed. Not to mention the whole adult playground they have out here with rings and ropes and all the manner of things that you have, the pull-up bars and all that stuff. So yeah,
I can only imagine the people from the Midwest coming to California, walking that boardwalk and seeing all this activity, and probably taking a million photos because they have never seen anything like this. It is truly California.
Very, very, yeah. That's what I would be like, wow, these people are so shallow. That's all they do all day. They must be out here climbing those ropes.
Exactly. But how were you able to get that space? That's another one of your dreams. Yeah.
Well, so on the green, actually, technically, your trainers are not supposed to be training there. We're designated to be training off in the actual stand. Unfortunately, the stand has a lot of elements that can cause injury and other things. So it's definitely safer to be on a platform and or more stable ground like where we are now. So we're not actually on the grass. We're more in front of it on a squishy turf, and then we place these what would you call them? They're like vinyl rubber mats over that, so you have another layer, and also so you have protection from the stand, because you don't want people slipping or just walking away with any kind of negative thing like, oh, I got sand all up in my shoes, or now it's in my mouth because I was doing crunches with my feet up in the air.
Right. So what kind of clothing, I didn't notice in the video, but what is the proper attire for this kind of training?
Yeah, general workout gear, closed-toed shoes mostly, because you saw there's a conglomeration. I don't know if it would even make sense for an observer to see what just happened, but there was basically a flash of 6 different uniquely different series that we do. There's a connected one, there's a side-to-side lateral one, there's front and back, it's called the front series. They all have the different intentions and different names. And that being said, we're talking about, wait, hold on, what was the question?
What is the attire that is most appropriate?
Yeah. Yeah, so that being said, the connected one is the only one that you don't need shoes particularly. Actually, there's one other one, but all the others, there's these things we call them flexi straps. You put these on your feet. They have little clips in them. The bands clip onto that. So that's how you get this multi-level, multi-limb resistance applied, because you have clips into your feet, clips in your handles and everything. So. And
you don't need gloves. You're holding on with your bare hands to the band.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although in the winter though, that 6:30 class, it can get pretty cold. So a lot of people, we always provide gloves out there. We try to provide everything that you wouldn't have to bring anything to you. Like, so we have water just in case you forget it. We have at the end coconut scented towelettes, and for charcoal towelettes, detoxify your skin and face. All those manner of things, hair ties, whatever things that we've heard people ask for. We try to keep that on deck. And I feel like that's really what makes a business an impression on a participant, because like I was saying in the beginning, I knew that I was onto something. But no matter how great your product is or how cool or unique or special, it doesn't matter if the people running it or regardless of that, if there's any inconsistencies or there's any even being outside has variables, that are stunting our growth to some degree. So yes, definitely, and being on the beach. So yeah, there's things like that. So those are the things that I look at and realize, kind of the ways that I've gone.
So I noticed in your in your website that you say if you don't get results in 30 days, if you don't see changes in your body, we're going to give you your money back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
mean, so talk about that for a moment. Why are you so sure of yourself?
Well, I feel like it does two things. One is it puts a fire under our butt, and it puts a fire under the client's butt too, because it's like, it really, it makes our trainers and myself really invested in them getting amazing results, number one. And not just amazing results, physically, but emotionally, every way which you can possibly imagine, and just loving them up and making their experience. Like we do a gift giving ceremony every Friday, they enter their stats in on a daily basis. Most of them, the ones that do, they get points for that and accumulate, and then they get to choose gifts from our little merchant gift library. And it's a cool thing. It's a cool feeling, and it feels great to give to these people who they've really earned it and worked for it, so I feel like that, just that in itself is one of the things that kind of distinguish us a little bit.
Well,
it's all about the client experience. Yeah.
But and you've touched on something so important to any entrepreneur or any business is customer support, customer care. And you certainly have walked your talk in terms of giving to the customer the feeling that they've made a valid choice and they're going to appreciate every moment and they're going to see results, and you're confident of that. So you can provide those kinds of guarantees because you know that 99% of the people are going to say, yay, this was great. So how long is a typical contract, and what kind of programs are the most popular?
Challenges, we always start everything off with a challenge. I don't believe in, trapping someone in a long-term agreement right off the bat. Want to make sure that they love it, that it's working for both of us. We don't want tire kickers or, people we're going to drag through the mud either. We want people who are enthusiastic and excited and going to fuel and add to the community. That being said, it's like, I think that ultimately, oh man, I'm losing our train of thought. All right, so we're talking about the people that.
How long are the programs typically for getting the kind of results that you want to be able to demonstrate have made the difference?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I went down that rabbit hole there.
Right. That's
okay. Say the last part.
Well, you mentioned the three that you don't want any tire kickers because you want everybody to be successful. So you're offering people a way to basically experience the program at the lowest risk possible. So I think that was your opener.
It definitely makes it, it's not like this huge commitment. It's not like they're, giving up their unborn child or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, I'm going to try this out. And if I end up loving it, and, I will say that not everyone gets results, but most of them do. The majority of them do. The ones that do the work do. If they're not if they're not getting results, I guarantee it that they are not firing on all cylinders, which, is a whole another thing we have to use. It's a 3-tiered system that basically really ensures their success. And it's just fitness, accountability, and meals. But those things are kind of twisted in a different way to really, make it an asset for them.
Dustin, would you say that again? Accountability. What was the next?
Fitness account. So we call it the FAM method, FAM.
Yeah.
And it's actually 2 acronyms in one. It's kind of weird. So if you're familiar with Newton's law, right? Friction, action, and momentum. So to get an object to move, you have to have friction. So definitely physical movement is a dynamic way of, expressing that. Yeah. So fitness, and then you have your action, or for us it's accountability. That's how we ensure that the actions are being taken. And then the last one is meals, or also momentum. So the thing that creates the sustainability, the thing that creates longevity of reaching and exceeding goals, is that not just like telling them what to do, empowering them, giving them the knowledge that they need in order to succeed and continue to create their own meals, structure their own meals. People just and you can't expect it either. There should be a class on how to eat, how many macronutrients your body should have and all these things like that, but there's not necessarily yet. So, but because of that, people just don't know necessarily. There's a lack of that's from what I've seen, is that most people just don't know what, like, even there's people I've had that are eating super healthy. They're eating kale, they're eating all the things they think they should eat, quinoa, but they're not eating the macronutrients that would be aiding their fat loss and also their energy levels, and in the time frames that would need to happen.
Well, so could you share with us what some of those macronutrients are?
Oh yeah. I mean, so just the standard. Well, ours are a little different. So standard macronutrients. Macro means they're bigger, so they're more important. Macronutrients. So you got fats. You've got fats, carbohydrates, and proteins.
Correct.
But we added a separate section for veggies, which would be considered as maybe a carb too.
Complex carb.
Yeah. But we put it in a separate category because we just wanted people to eat more veggies, because that's another thing I saw. People don't eat enough vegetables. And our approach, mine has morphed into so many different things. And I'm always looking out for not the next best, fad. Like, right now it's the keto thing, and not the next best fad, but just the more things that I can learn about how to enhance, because for me, for example, I'm maintaining. I'm not trying to get anywhere or go anywhere. I just want to, look and feel great, and that's fine with me. But for others who want to, have substantial goals, there's variables that need to change. There's things that, as you lose weight, you got to reduce, calorie intake. So different things like that you got to look at. But bottom line is, it's like with macronutrients, the vegetables are almost always missed, or they're just not eating enough of it. So when you add that in, and our approach right now is centered primarily on gut health and inflammation. So those are the kind of things that will help with, fruits and free radicals, and also helping with your body's ability to absorb and process energy and all those things. So anything that's going to be hard for your body to digest, like there are certain vegetables actually we say not to eat at first, like corn, pumpkin, squash, beets, things that are high starch, high carb. And that's because they can slow down your digestive system. And if your digestive system is not running at top speed, then your metabolism can suffer, because then that's not going to metabolize as fast. So there's all these interlinked things that go hand in hand. And really, to have the best results, you got to have all are functioning at top speed. So.
And the whole keto you brought up, we're all expecting to hear more about that in a couple of weeks. We're going to have a guest speaker who is a nutritionist. Okay. And keto's all the rave right now, and yet it isn't for everybody, and one size does not fit all. So I don't know, how do you feel about keto?
You hit the nail on the head. I don't think it's sustainable for most people ultimately, but I also have a view that is maybe controversial with people who are heavily overweight. If someone comes to me and they're 300 pounds overweight and they're like, hey, ready to kick ass and work out, I would say we need to work on your nutrition, and you're going to just walk. That's it, because that's where injuries and imbalances and habits and bad stuff happen, is when you're working out, but the amount of pressure that's amplified on your joints from per pound, I think it's like 10 times per pound. So if you're overweight by 200 pounds, a lot of amplification there. So, but like you're saying, yeah, it's not a one size fits all. And so that's that's interesting right now. I'll just mention is because the next direction that it's been about a year and a half. I've been obsessively, compulsively researching, learning about microbiomes and all those things that are involved with gut health, and apple cider vinegar and everything in there. And now I'm kind of shifting gears a little bit and going into more of the realm of blood sugar, because that's really, when it all comes down to it, blood sugar is really what's influencing your spiking and your raising and your signaling to store foods versus burn them. So when you can track your blood sugar, and you can do that with various machines, and we actually just got this non-invasive one that I've been working on with myself to see how accurate it is compared to a pricker, the one that pricks you. But when you can identify what foods might be spiking your metabolism, because here's the really interesting thing is that, someone can eat ice cream and it might have zero effect on their metabolism, it might have zero effect on their blood sugar. It might not spike at all. Another person, their brother even, could eat that ice cream, and their blood sugar just skyrockets, and then that throws them into this whole spiral of like carb craving and waking up really hungry and things like that. So.
And why would there be? Why is there that difference, other than the one size does not fit all? But is it just the DNA and the metabolic makeup of individuals that causes that difference?
I would think so, but I mean, I think there's probably a categorized of archetypes of people. But at the same token, I think that like I bet if we were to look at it, there's definitely patterns. But same line of thought. Like it's just like every human our fingerprints are just slightly different from one another. So everyone's going to respond differently. But I was also thinking that maybe it could have to do with things that you were introduced when you were either in the womb or when you were in your first couple years of life that kind of are the hallmark of like if you first thing you ever have when you're born, you have nothing really to base it on is let's say like a pack of Oreos, right? So you have those Oreos and your mouth is like watering, right? And you're just like, and then your mom gives you chicken and you're like, oh God, what the heck is this? Maybe little things like that could influence kind of thoughts I had.
Well, the microbiome has become the new hot buzzword, and and of course some people cannot deal with fermented foods, but that seems to be one of the reasons that you can control the free radicals in your gut. And about 85% of your gut is responsible for your immune system. So this is all interconnected. But what do you do with the people who just cannot take apple cider vinegar or eat kimchi or the other fermented foods, kombucha? How do you deal with that to get around the fact that they are the best contributors to a healthy microbiome?
So they could do a poop transplant. I know, I'm just kidding. But it's funny. Like that'll never be.
Wait. What was that?
A poop transplant.
Oh.
It'll never be a thing. But this is probably the most interesting thing I've learned about gut health is that if you take the poop out of a healthy, high metabolism athlete and you put that into a overweight, unhealthy, diabetic person, they'll start to get in shape.
Right.
They'll start to drop pounds because they're in their metabolism. Isn't that interesting? Because they have that proper whatever mixture of good and bad bacteria that are aiding in their fat loss. So really.
Well, you were.
I don't think people will be going to the doctor and being like, "Hey, I'm just going back for my poop transplant."
I know.
Hey, I'm looking for donors. Anyone out there?
Well, you were talking about the glycemic index and you were talking about sugar and controlling sugar. So that, of course, I mean, not the glycemic index. Sorry. And there are many people who just have difficulty in our society minimizing the amount of sugar intake.
Yeah.
Is there any way around that? And I recognize that the large food processing companies are, in many ways tempting us. When you walk into a grocery store, they say, just stay on the aisles, go to the veggies, go to the fish, and stay over there. Don't ever go down the middle.
Yeah.
But how do you? I mean, some people just have a sugar addiction, and
exactly. Yep.
By the way, does Bands and Body help with people's addictions in terms of the endorphins that are generated by the exercise? Is that one way that?
Yeah, definitely, but not. I don't think any more than your standard high intensity interval workout. See, our workout it is on the higher intensity scale, but it's also on the lower impact side of things. So there's no jumping or running or anything like that. You're getting a intense workout by essentially standing in place primarily. You're stepping your foot in one direction or another, but yeah.
Right. So in the history, it is 10 years. Are you celebrating your 10-year the decade of this being in existence?
So let's see. I think we're past that because 2007 I had that heart surgery. 2008 I was certified.
Okay.
And then yeah,
Well,
so
that is
would be,
11
yeah.
years. So are there any other copycats of people trying to mimic what you've done in other places and other, particularly right here in Los Angeles?
Nothing in here in Los Angeles, but I am seeing a couple things because I have like a semi-large Instagram following. I tend to see a kind of the circle one that we do, which is really the most popular one. But to be honest, it's the easiest one. It's fun. It's the most fun for sure. But because you're all connected, it's community. It's we call it banding together. We're banding together. But that one, and it's also that one if I post a picture of that workout, I'm guaranteed for like tons of likes. So I'm sure that that's probably why other people are kind of like going that route and making these like weird formations with their bands connected together. But I've been I don't know even how I kind of stumbled upon this. I guess we were connecting. We needed something to connect the bands to, so I thought let's just connect them together. And then
and you were calling them the Bandits, right? That's
now we call them bandits.
The
So
bandits.
they're challengers, and then if they transition it, then they become a bandit.
I see.
But that when I realized that, okay, cool, this is interesting. They're liking it. They're laughing. I realized because I was prior to being in the fitness world, I was in the entertainment industry with film and stuff, and I was doing video stuff. Our business was Recovery Road Productions, which was centered on just creating solely what would you call it? Emotionally stimulating, talking to the user, talking to the family, like a company that specializes in doing capturing the essence of a treatment center. And then when that fell apart, I went a different route, which was ultimately going to so I went a different route, and I was going to I went a different route, which was going into the fitness world. But then I circled back around, and I came back to those rehabs because I had this huge list, and I knew a lot of them because I've done all these conferences. And I was like, hey guys, I got this thing. This is like, greatest thing since sliced bread. And it's a great way to like get that community strengthened, and also to get them active in a fun way, low impact, what's the other word? Low impact and low on the intimidating scale, so.
Exactly. It looked like you had all ages. You started out with women, you said, but to me, from your video, it seemed like you have quite a few men.
Yeah. So that video is primarily my friends and clients, and I told my close friend bring his kids because I wanted to say that line like, and anyone can do it,
Yeah. Anyone can do it.
But yeah. And anyone can really. We have a really specific way we phase people into the training. It can look a little comprehensive, but it's not. We simplify it, and then we expand on it from there. Yeah.
So what was that byline that you told me about? Stretch beyond your limits. Stretch beyond your limits.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we have to end, tell me about the psychology of running a company like this, where you're working with people's self-image, excuse me, and many people who are trying to, as they say, if they're arguing their limitations, they're now theirs, right? So many people have fear and insecurity. How do you play part psychologist and help people to overcome their fears and their lack of positive self-image, and particularly as it relates to their bodies? How do you deal with that?
Well, I'm lucky in that way because I've been down that road. I know what it's like to want something really bad and just not being able to make that shift, and I know what it's like to be frustrated. I know what it's like to be, to feel hopeless, to feel ashamed, to feel isolated and withdrawn, to not want to, tell the world, that I once again failed my diet or failed my, nutrition plan, or miss my workouts, breaking promises to yourself. So I have a big advantage, and that's probably one of the reasons why we were able to get the successes that we are, which I think as long as A Fitness has that component of someone who is versed in the world of like self-doubt and, self-deprecation, like as I am. And I'm human. I still get depressed. I still shit on myself, pardon my French. And, I also still, I can very easily go down that rabbit hole of like anger or frustration or sadness. I'm a failure, or this is never, what am I doing? Wasting my time, all that stuff, And so I level with them and I say that. And I say, hey, guess what? I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't like working out that much either. So I have to sign up to go, I have to pay money to other trainers to go get trainers, or I have my boxing coach who comes down here, but I have to pay people to train me because I also have it. I'm human also, and I think they really relate to that, They're like, okay, that's
and we say with the vision of Ageless and Timeless that we're going to hold hands and do this together. And that's really what you just described, that you're one of them, you're not above them. You may look like you are because you're so fit. However, that's been a process too. And mentally, you have fought those demons like all human beings. And so the fact that you're one of them, I think people relate and connect to that. And now there's a dynamic working in the program. So you had mentioned that you wanted to give our viewers something very special. Would you describe what you have in mind?
Yeah. So I had thought, so right now, so we're always running a challenge of some sort. That's how you can really get involved with us, is you got to do a challenge. And then based on that, you get to determine what your monthly rate will be based on that, because your progress, your consistency, and your results. So basically what I thought we'd do is, I was thinking, what would be like an irresistible offer, something that everyone would win from, benefit, and, feel awesome about, not commitment. So primarily what I came up with was that we gave the 21-day challenge, which is what we're running right now, for the cost of what it would cost to do 1 week of it. So you basically pay for 1 week, and then we give you the other 2 weeks for free. And then that way you get to really experience the 21-day challenge. You get the full 21-day challenge experience. So what we're saying is, at the end of after this airs, through the end of that month, we'll be allowing, if you come in and with the promo code of Ageless, then we'll honor that and we'll get you set up for. I think right now that it would be $95 or something like that. Really minimal cost for what you're getting.
So basically, for 1 week of the 3-week program, that's the risk of financially of any of our viewers. And what is that in dollars? It would be like 1/3 of 90,
like
$33.
So it would be 95, I think, is what it's at right now. And they also, I mean, with that, you're hiring a team. Really, it's not just a class. It's a motivational accountability coach she's phenomenal. There's me. I'll bother you if you're not showing up to class to try to remotivate you. Then there's Momo, who's she's gigantic, tall guy, and Jack Beanstalk, tall, skinny guy, and he's just Mr. Love Bear. He's awesome. And then so you have this whole team of people, and we're all rooting for you, and that's the difference. It's like, we can't do things. We can do things alone, but it's so much easier when we have the support and help of friends and lovers and everything else.
So Dustin, in that 3-week program, how many times a week do we come to the class?
Yep. So it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday primarily, and it's morning, midday, and evening. And so you come 3 times. Of course, if you miss a class, we would rather you come to, like, if you miss the morning, we'd rather you come to the evening that day. But we do. It is, we've made it a pretty. I don't want to say the word strict. I don't want to say that word, but I just did.
Well, let's say, how about disciplined or?
Yeah, it's disciplined. We've made it in a way that you're able to strengthen that muscle of consistency, which is where everything else is going to stem from.
Exactly.
That's what we've done. We've made it a very specific way that if you follow this program, that consistency muscle, that I don't know any other way that you can start to support it and strengthen it other than fine-tuning daily tasks and getting incentivized and rewarded for them. That's really the only way I've found that gets that done. So.
Well, the other part about the uniqueness about your program is that you cannot really do this by yourself. You do gain a lot of momentum and motivation by being in a group, everybody sharing with each other. Plus you use music, and music is such a great connector. So I mean, you wouldn't see people at home doing this unless they just had their own little band and they just want a tune-up, right? But the real class has to be the group. So
be in the group, yeah. And the thing is, with the real class, we always have 2 trainers on site. So you have one person who's leading the routine, and the other person who's in the background, and they're just critiquing everyone's form, making sure that they're getting the absolute most out of the workout. And then they're just cheering them on, making sure that they know that they're appreciated and they're as awesome as they are.
So what if they fall in love? Yeah. What if they fall in love with the program after the 3 weeks, and now two weeks have been comped, so they're getting a chance to try this out for $33 or thereabouts. So now what? After that, you're smitten. You want to keep going, and then what happens?
Yeah. So the way that it's structured as far as pricing goes is, I think, really special because. A challenge is the way that we've put it together is, really giving you the best of everything we have, just knocking your socks off so that you're just like, wow, these guys care, these guys are in it. And then after that, you have the option, which we will encourage you. It's another thing that I'm trying to veer from is we will encourage if you have more, if it's a weight loss or BMI reduction or there's a significant amount of quantifiable measurements to reduce, or to change for the better, then we will highly encourage you to stay in the challenge, which is essentially called the premium plan, or go up to the actual deluxe one, which is personal, comes with group personal training.
And this is all on your website, right, Dustin?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
But also there is that option that someone just needed to lose like 5 or 10 pounds and they got there and now they want to maintain it. They don't think they need all this accountability and nutrition modification. So they can just do the class only plan, which is called the basic.
The basic. Okay. So because I know we have to close very soon here, what is the mechanic? What are the mechanics of doing this? Why don't you tell us the website and then what they have to do when they get on the website to get the Ageless discount, so you'll know who they are?
Yeah, well, the best thing to do would be to give us a call at 855-STRETCH. That's 787-3824. 855-787-3824. That'd be the best way to do it. But also you could go and peruse the website. I would encourage that. And on the schedule tab is where you'll find a link to get access to whatever. It'll ask you if you prefer personalized training or if you prefer more of a generic group model, and then based on that, it'll send you to one or the other of the avenues for.
Well, I think the first step is taking that the 3-week program, right?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Okay,
yeah.
So let's encourage everyone to do this. I know I'm going to be there. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
so basically, they call that number that you just stated, and then they tell whoever answers that. Would that be Georgia?
Georgia or Momo or myself, maybe even sometimes.
Okay, so they just say Ageless is their because they're.
If they say that, I'll have everyone up to speed. If they text the word Ageless, actually,
they can
this would be best.
Okay.
If they text the word Ageless to 209-245-BAND. That's 209-245-2263. Then that'll be perfect.
Okay, say it one more time. Sorry.
Yep, 209.
Right.
245-BAND, which is 2263.
226. Is that your number?
That's one of our numbers.
That's one of the numbers. Okay. Perfect. So,
line.
So either by website, which has an email, or by calling. But you're suggesting calling.
Yeah. Don't be shy, and I might always encourage, just get real with us. We've heard everything, and just let it use us as an opportunity to lean on for a little bit.
And let's say there's a big influx of people because we're going to have so many subscribers to our. So then, how are you able to accommodate a larger group than you already have?
Oh yeah, definitely. Right now we're at probably at more of our smaller points. Because so many people go on breaks for summer and things like that.
So there's room to grow. Okay, well, Dustin, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your coming on the show and how much you've meant to me. Just in the last week, we've had so much fun communicating with each other. And by the way, Dustin also, he's very generously sponsors a hike that this unfortunately had to cancel this week, but this Why don't you say just a moment about how people would know about your hike?
Yeah, if you email or you go to the website, get on our mailing list, it'll pop up and ask you if you want to join it.
Okay.
And you'll be notified of all the stuff that we do. But we have the hike, the glow workout, breath work, and there's one other, and a cooking, a sushi making thing. So you can do, those are quarterly. Those happen quarterly.
Okay, I didn't know about that. So, okay, as we close, just tell us in one sentence what's your silver bullet? What do you want to leave the audience with today?
Okay. Yeah, I would say if there's anything that you could get from this, it would be for the person who's struggling, the person who's right now just thinking like, wow, man, like maybe they seem like they have it, they're it all together. Well, I would say to them that no, I speaking for myself, I definitely don't. And to also just that life is now, and action, and you have to go against the grain of what the old self wants to do. So that's why we say stretch beyond your limits, because you got to go beyond what that old self wants to do in order to recreate that new self. That not that you need to be better or anything, but you need to refine and activate all your authenticity of who you are and your truest and fullest. And that's an amazing, loving, awesome person. So
that's beautiful.
If no one else said that to you, then there you go. Yeah.
And you're standing right by to help and coach. So
yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you again.
My pleasure. I made you have to watch this. I made a little video for you.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll have to watch it.
Okay,
you
really
sent. I thought we would play it during this, but
okay. All right, I'll look at it. Is it on my email?
I believe so.
Okay.
Not,
all right, I will look at it and I'll give you a call later.
You'll get a crack out of it.
Okay, thank you, Dustin.
All right, see you later.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I don't know about all of you, but I'm always looking for something exciting and effective. And this seems like one of the most fun programs. I'm just shocked that I never heard about it. I do live most of my year in San Francisco. We don't seem to have this opportunity there. But if you want to be like Arnold, you can go out on Muscle Beach and Santa Monica, and this is a program not to be missed. And as you can tell, Dustin is a very bright and energetic and very unusual man for all that he's accomplished in his life, in his very short life, and so much more that he will be doing to benefit all of us. So once again, I want to thank him for being with us today and for introducing us to a new fitness protocol that we can all get excited about. Thank you. This is Michelle Hughes. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Anyways, so yeah, when I first met Michelle, I instantly liked her. Like, she's got one of those big personalities that's just like really relatable and kind of like contagious. So yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this thing with her on the show and being a part of your vision, and you get to be part of mine, and we get to intermix them a little bit and see how they kind of serve out, and yeah, just here to be of service and whatever I can do to benefit another of the mankind. So anyways, we'll see how it goes. I did write this song for you, so all right, well, I thought I would kind of perform it if that was cool, and maybe see where it goes, but I'm a little nervous, so just bear with me, I guess. Yeah. Oh, which brings me to my song. So, what is this? It's so soft. So soft. Gosh. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that was live. Okay. Where am I? I thought it was in Santa Monica. Did you hear that? Who was that? Beautiful girl. Okay. Here's the class. Whoa! Okay. it's just the logo. Oh my God. Oh, that's me. Oh my God, look how much I've aged. Oh, so yeah, these are some of the different series we do. This is the ground series, side series, working lateral. That's the connected series, if you can see that. I'm trying to duck out of the way a little bit. That's my twin brother. No, he looks tired. But yeah, so it's just going on to talk about the uniqueness of the training. So it's basically working upper and lower body, and then together has a lot of emphasis on core strength. And the other aspect is that you exhaust one layer as the other recovers, as they're doing right here. They're exhausting their upper body, then their lower body, and then you combine them together, and that's where that magical core strength happens. And yeah, it's all choreographed to music, and awesome people, and awesome environment. So get to be one with the world. And the best part is anyone can do it. See the little kids there? That's what I say at that part. Anyways, so yeah, that's basically the workout. It's just it's out here on the beach, grass. It's fun. It's phenomenal, and the workout's really fun. It's the nutrition part that people struggle with. No, yeah, it's just it's effort which builds consistency, which ultimately leads to results. So now they talk about how amazing I am, but we don't need to hear that.
'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Well, at Ageless and Timeless, we're always looking for the newest and the greatest, the cutting edge in the fitness world, because we're all interested in having the best bodies possible, and we're obviously looking for the integrated approach. But there are some options for us today that I think you're going to find very interesting. So I want to introduce our guest. His name is Dustin Conrad. He calls himself DC for short. And he lives in Santa Monica, right on the ocean. And he runs a company that he founded about 10 years ago called Bands and Body Fitness. And he's going to tell us exactly what that is and why this is the newest thing since sliced bread, right, Dustin?
You're right, exactly.
So before
There's
you
somewhere
launch,
I like
before you launch into your explanation of our beautiful fitness routine, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you came to this place in your life? I read your bio on your website, and I also read your little byline. I have to include this. He says, from phony to Phoenix, drug addiction to open heart surgery to open heart loving. So explain all of that to us, Justin, because you are quite a man. I can say that.
Yeah, those are pretty heavy concepts. So yeah, basically just, the Phoenix just really sums up the whole thing, because I really did go through the fire in more ways than one. And, it just all happened the perfect way that it could. And I truly believe that everything happened for a reason. And that reason was the catalyst for me, being and doing and, living where I am. So, and giving what I do. So, yeah.
So would you mind elaborating a little bit on the adversity side, so we understand what your demons were and how you conquered them?
Sure. So yeah, as a young kid, I was like heavily medicated. I was one of those rambunctious, if you can't tell, I'm like fidgety and stuff. Rambunctious kids all over the place, getting kicked out of classes. So I was put on a lot of medication, and ultimately, I just started, I think, developed this inherent feeling like something was wrong with me that needed to be fixed. And then, so when I was exposed to drugs and alcohol and things like that, it just seemed natural for me to kind of like take it up a notch and, get that numbness even a little bit more that dull ache. So that's kind of the way that all transpired. And ultimately, it's just this natural progression of like, you start by drinking some alcohol, your parents' cabinet, and then filling up with water, and then, next thing you know, you're smoking pot, and then, taking LSD, and then, just the natural progression of how a lot of people, addicts or people in that world, kind of transgress into. So that's what happened with me. Luckily, though, I was pulled out of all that because I was so out of control that there was one night where I stole my mom's car and I was driving around Calabasas and with no headlights on. I must have been 15 years old. And I driving to all my friends' houses, getting high with them. And then, of course, a night ended painfully with me being, rammed into my mom's car and by police officers. So, but that like short circuited the downward spiral that I was in. So it kind of gave me a pause. And, I went away to boarding school and kind of got my act together. I finished out my high school with 4.0 and then got my diploma from Calabasas High, even though I didn't finish at my last year there. And then I went on to, to explore the work world. And just in a nutshell, what happened was I got a job at Starbucks, met this girl, she's super awake and it's 5 a.m. and I'm not. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like bring me up to speed, literally. And so that's kind of what happened. And next thing you know, it was very elusive.